Welcome back to Whiskey and Washers. I'm your host, Ryan. Tonight, I hope you're thirsty. Well, you don't get to try this, but I am thirsty. Tonight, I'm going to do a little taste test of the Yellowstone Rum Cask. And let's see what we figure out on this sucker. Special finish collection. 100 proof out of Lebanon, Kentucky. And always got to read the back. We got to figure out where this juice is from. Distilled and aged in Kentucky. Bottled for Limestone Branch Distillery, Lebanon, Kentucky. All right. So, what you can tell by that is this is not their own juice. Let me get this sucker open and get a little poured for myself. So, they are sourcing their juice out of Kentucky. And a lot of times what you'll find with the brands that are sourcing their juice, they will end up doing a special finish cast on it, like this one right here, the rum cast, right? So you'll see a lot of wine finishes, just different barrel finishes, and they're doing that because otherwise their bourbon's going to taste exactly like whoever they bought it from. So you got to put your little spin on it. That's what Yellowstone is doing with this bottle. And what you'll notice out of rum cast finishes is they're definitely going to be, I wouldn't say sweet, but they're going to get that sweetness from that barrel. You know, most rum's made with cane sugar, and so it's going to definitely soften it. Let's give it a try. Here we go. Oh, it definitely comes through. Definitely comes through. Just a little sweet. And I wouldn't even necessarily call it sweet, but you can kind of get that lingering sweetness from the barrel. Definitely softens it at 100 proof. I do enjoy the higher proof, and this one is easy drinking because of that rum cast finish. Second drink, that second sip, that third sip, the more you sip on it, definitely those flavors really pop out a little bit more from the barrel, from the rum cast barrel. I'm trying to think, what other rum cast barrels we got? Oh, Doc Swinson. So we just started getting those bourbons, and they do a bunch of different barrel finishes. Again, they're sourcing their own juice, so that's their way to put their own spin on it. And same with Yellowstone. They did not distill or age this bourbon, so they finished it in a wine cask, which the wine cask, God, they aren't for everybody, man. You definitely are going to pull some flavor off it. Your wine cask, your rum cask, if they're using some different kind of barrels, we just got Angel's Envy in up at the liquor store I work at, and it's finished in 3 different barrels, and it definitely, I'll do a review on that pretty soon. We just finally got that in for the first time in Kansas on Friday, and it was interesting. It was interesting. But I do, so this is one of my, so I work at Sam's Liquor and Smoke Shop in Baser. Come up and see me. We have an ever-expanding bourbon selection. I buy all the booze in there. We're trying to really expand, become the place to go if you need some bourbon. And so these guys I know, Matt and his dad Steve, they love this stuff. So I had to post it on there. I had never tried it until one evening I tried it with him, and yeah, it's, if you're into bourbon flavored bourbon, right? This may not be for you, but if you do enjoy a little bit of an easier drinker at 100 proof, that rum cast really, really softens it. I mean, you can kind of look at the color for 100 proof. I mean, that is not a dark color. And it's not a real bold flavor. And For those of you who do enjoy that, man, this is really nice. Doc Swinson does a rum cast. Barrel Bourbon does a rum cast. A lot of distilleries are definitely getting into that sector, I guess you might call it, of different barrel finishes and whatnot. So when you see rum cast, what does that actually mean? Well, so you have an aged bourbon, and then after it's aged, wherever that master distiller says, "Hey, this is ready to go," um, they're going to take it out of that barrel. What typically a lot of bourbon distillers will do, they'll have something worked out with, um, so a rum distillery or a winery or whatever it may be, and then they'll trade barrels. Um, so you send them a finished bourbon barrel that's already juice is already gone out of it, but you've had that bourbon sitting in there for 4 years. Then this rum place will take that, put the rum in there, and pull a little flavor from that bourbon and whatnot, and vice versa. So that's why you see a bunch of these, and those collaborations are nice. I mean, it just really softens it. I mean, you can Google it, check out what flavor notes are out of it, but your rum casts are going to kind of all be very similar in terms of flavor profile. It's just a matter if you like them, and then kind of what proof you cut that you enjoy after that. Because a lot of times, like your barrel bourbons, I've never had any that were watered down. They're all barrel strength, hence the name. And those are going to pop a lot more. Even with the rum cast finish, like you'll see a ton of different finishes on the barrel bourbon. Again, they are sourcing their juice. They don't have their own, but they're going to put their little finishing touches on it in a barrel, depending on a wine, a rum, just a different type of oak or a different type of wood barrel. So trying to differentiate itself from the distillery you're getting it from. A lot of them come from Indiana MGP. When they come from Kentucky, honestly, I'm not 100% sure where those come from. You see a lot of barrels that were distilled and aged in Kentucky and then shipped somewhere else, and then they're just finishing it off. And I'm not 100% sure what distillery's doing all that. It's probably multiple. That'd be a good, if anybody knows that, let me know. I'd be interested to find that out. Tennessee does a lot of barrels as well. You'll see a lot. I don't know if that's Jack Daniels. I would assume not, but you never know. But yeah, so the Yellowstone, so let's get back. What do we drink? Yellowstone Rum Cask. So now that I've had a couple sips, try not to. So what I've learned, and basically everything that I tell you, I've learned from somebody else. Somebody who's more experienced, visiting distilleries, talking to master distillers, just talking to other bourbon lovers, man. That's one of the best parts of bourbon, I'll be honest. I love the conversations. There's something to learn all the time about bourbons. Oh, okay. So I've always learned, don't whine, don't swirl your bourbon like I'm doing right now. So don't do that. Because you actually do want it to settle just a little bit. So I always let mine sit until I'm literally taking a drink out of it. And there's science and reasons behind that. I've heard different reasons for all this, but it's definitely different. And if you really want to get a nose off of something, what I do is, so you cover your glass, give a little stir. Oh yeah, and give it a smell. So if you really want to pull flavors out of a glass, that is the best way I've ever learned to do that. you're stirring up all that flavor, and it just really pops on the nose. Oh yeah, it really does. And the glass does help. I use Glencairn glass. Never add any water, never add any ice or anything. At least that's how I enjoy mine. So if you do, so I would recommend, if you're gonna kind of do that swirl top like I just did, kind of swirled around, do that at the beginning. So pour your glass and then do that, cover it, and you'll really get that odor. That's kind of a weird way. This fragrance, that's a better way to say it. You really get that fragrance off those bourbons. And that's what people are doing when they're telling you, oh, the nose is the cherries and the vanillas and the coffee, and then the flavor is whatever it's going to be. Coffee, chocolate, caramel, oak. I mean, everybody's flavor profile is so different that's why I don't do the flavor profiles, because a lot of times that really doesn't help me at all. Like, I can see something, like somebody asked me for a bourbon to bring in. Hey man, I'm looking for this bourbon. Can you bring it in? Absolutely. And so I'll look it up. I'll do my little research on it, because if it's something I've never heard of, that's kind of rare, honestly. And so I'll look it up and I'll be like, oh, okay, this says, here's the review on it. And a lot of the times those reviews are from the distillery. So they're like, oh, you get your caramels and your coffees and all those things. Well, that doesn't help me personally. Like, that doesn't help me decide if I'm going to like a bourbon. Like, that'll give me a good idea sometimes, and sometimes not, because, again, people's tastes are so different, and they're going to drink the bourbon differently. I enjoy under the tongue, kind of smash that tongue down, get those taste buds on the side of your tongue activated, and that really helps me. I do enjoy the higher proofs, but that helps calm that bourbon down, where, okay, all your taste buds got hit that first time, and it will pop every time. I don't care what bourbon you're drinking. There's no super smooth bourbon that very first drink, typically. And so you want to activate all that stuff. So then your second drink, your third drink, and when I say drink, I'm just talking little sips that I take. And so now, instead of burn, I'm getting flavor. I'm getting that sweetness from that rum barrel. I'm getting that age statement, whatever it may be, 4 to X amount of years on it. And so that's how I drink bourbon. And God, it's just so fun. I love it. I love bourbon. God bless. It's so ridiculous. So the Yellowstone Rum Cask, again, it is going to change the flavor of the bourbon. It's going to make it a little sweeter. Sweeter's probably not the right term. It's going to make it just ever so slightly smoother. And it's going to soften that bite initially up in the taste buds on the tongue, kind of on those glands. You get those every once in a while. Get that salivation. Oh, I love that. That's why I love the high proof bourbons, because you get that salivation, that lingering, just beautiful taste. And 100 proof for rum cast is nice. I do enjoy that. I'm just not a huge fan of those finishes anymore, as much as I was. And as somebody who's drank bourbon for a long time, I'll be honest, a long time, your taste buds will change. Something that you like when you first started drinking bourbon, one of your favorites, will definitely not be one of your favorites down the road. Because some of the bourbons that got me really into bourbons, actually Jefferson Pritchard Hill, like a cab finish bourbon. And I really don't enjoy those anymore. But when I started drinking bourbon, those what I was going after. Because again, it's it calms that bourbon bite down a little bit, but you're still getting a lot of flavor. You're getting some unnatural, and I say unnatural because rum and wine and sherry and whatever finishes you're gonna do on a barrel, that's unnatural because your bourbon is supposed to be in a new white oak barrel, charred, boom, and it comes out and let's drink it. Like it's delicious. So your taste buds are going to change as you go on your bourbon trip, which is great. And so mine have changed a ton. So I'm not as especially enlightened, excited about any finishes that have rum or wine or whatnot. But I was at the beginning, and now it's God, I want my bourbon tastes like bourbon. You know, like that's what we should be drinking. Bourbon like bourbon. But it is nice. I mean, you still get that bourbon flavor. You're still getting all that. It's just gonna calm down those spices that typically a lot of people are getting. So anyway, Yellowstone Rum Cask. I don't know. I guess I need to start rating these somehow. Let's use a scale of 100. So if this is on a scale of 100, this is a God. So 10 years ago, I would have said this is probably upper 80s. Like it's nice, good spice, sweet, almost not sweet, but smooth. A lot of character, and now, I mean, I'll give it a good. This is a 79 for me. Good C plus, not quite a B minus, but it is nice. Obviously, I've only poured one drink out of it tonight, and that's how much I got left. So, obviously, I have enjoyed it. It's just not what my taste buds are wanting right now. But again, check it out. If you've enjoyed any other rum casks, they're all a little similar. I'll be honest. Whether it's the barrel bourbon, the Doc Swinson, oh, a lot of people are getting into these. I'm sure Penelope's probably got one out right now. But I would almost consider this not a beginner bourbon, but if you're just getting into bourbons, I would recommend this highly, honestly. Because 100 proof, you get a lot of that bourbon spice, a lot of those peppery notes that I definitely enjoy. But this, when you finish it in a rum, you're gonna soften a little bit of those spices, a little bit of those notes. Gonna pull a little character out of that rum barrel, and it's nice. I mean, it's just not my cup of tea. So, again, you know what, 79. I enjoy it. Yellowstone Rum Cask. Get yourself a bottle. Hopefully, you're paying $49.99. If you are not, come up and see me. I work at Sam's Liquor and Smoke Shop in Baser. I buy all the booze. We have a great bourbon selection. So come up and see me. Let me know where you found me. And let's talk some bourbon. Drink some bourbon too. Appreciate you for joining me tonight. Have a great evening.